everyone. I just want to double check that we're all good to go. Everyone can hear me. Devin, can you just give me a thumbs up if everything's fine?
I can hear you.
All right, great. So I'm just going to turn that off.
It's 20 hours.
All right. So welcome everyone to our Not Psycho period celebratory webinar and free training for International Women's Day. I'm going to teach you how to solve your period problems and embrace the true magic of being a woman. My name is Zahra Haji, and I'm the founder of Yoga Goddess, and I'm so excited to tell you that there's over 1,000 women signed up for today's training and celebration, and I feel so grateful and happy to be here sharing space with you on International Women's Day. And I just want to thank you for being here. I know Sony's on with us, so hi Sony, and Bella from Brazil. And welcome, it's so wonderful to have you. Ayan, I think that's how you say your name. Thank you so much, Nadine, for being here. So if you're just joining us, please say hello. I'd love to know who's on the call with us today. And as we're getting started, feel free to share with me any questions that you might have about your hormones, your cycle, your fertility. I'm going to do my best to answer all your questions today on the call. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself now. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Zahra Haji, and I'm the founder of Yoga Goddess. I was one of the very first yoga teachers to develop a fertility and hormone balancing yoga program, and now there's over 200 women in over 25 countries doing my online Moon Goddess program and seeing incredible results. And nothing can make me happier than to see women cure themselves from uncontrollable mood swings, constant fatigue, painful, debilitating periods, as well as deeper hormonal health challenges like infertility, fibroids, polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, amenorrhea, all using my Moon Goddess program. That's the kind of magic I've seen. And you know, when I first started teaching Moon Goddess back in 2008 here in Toronto, I'm in Canada, my first intention was really to help women heal from these painful conditions. And I remember that in my very first class, I had a woman there with fibroids, another woman who was trying to get pregnant and she had ovarian cysts, another woman that was suffering from painful periods, one with PMS, and there was actually two women, one who was heading into menopause and one who was already in menopause. And literally each and every one of those women got the results they were looking for. What I didn't expect, though, is that more and more women who were trying to get pregnant were coming to my class, and the amazing part was about half of them would write me, sometimes weeks or months later, to say that it had worked, that they were pregnant. And so far, in the past 3 years, most of my clients have been women trying to conceive, and just over half of them have succeeded with the help of Moon Goddess. But today is not only about healing your womb for conception. Today is about reclaiming our blood wisdom. It's really about celebrating the power of our periods and celebrating our cycles, really healing our relationship with our female bodies and reconnecting with the divine feminine. I'm also so happy that today is International Women's Day, and I'm here with all of you gorgeous goddesses. So before we jump into all the juicy content, I just want to say thank you again to each and every one of you who's here live with me right now, and those of you who will be watching the replay later on. I'm so deeply honored to be sharing these teachings with you. This program, Moon Goddess, has literally revolutionized my life and the lives of hundreds of other women all over the world. And I can't wait to share with you too how you can heal your hormone problems, especially if you've tried everything and nothing is working. Today I'm going to give you real solutions that you can start using right away. And then at the end of the training, I have a very special invitation for you. So again, once again, I just want to say I'd love to know who's joining me here on today's webinar. So go ahead and say hello in the chat box. And if there's something really excited that you're hoping to learn about for today, I'd love for you to tell me, and I'm going to do my best to give you exactly what you're looking for. So go ahead and write in your questions. And while you do that, please note that anything that's shared today is not intended as medical advice or substitute medical care, but rather to encourage a new discussion within yourself about your hormones and how to work with them, and potentially open up a new discussion with your healthcare providers. As we're getting started, I want you to know you're in the right place. So if you're tired of your period being a pain, whether that means it's too heavy or too light, too short or too long, that you skip cycles and you don't know when it's coming, or it hurts physically and emotionally, I really want to help you resolve the underlying issue that's causing this pain. You're also in the right place if you feel like your body is trying to tell you something, but you don't understand what the message is. You know that something is wrong because you're struggling with PMS or infertility or hormone issues or period pain, but you don't know how to solve it. I'm going to guide you through a visualization to tune into your womb right on today's webinar so you can start to find those answers. You're also in the right place if you noticed a curious synchronicity between your period and the moon, whether you're cycling with the full moon or the new moon, and you want to understand what this means for you in terms of your hormones and your fertility. And the way I'm going to do this today is by teaching you how to chart your cycle with the moon. And I'm going to do my best to answer as many questions as I can about your personal moon cycle chart, whether you're on the red moon cycle or the white moon cycle and what that means. So make sure that you stay right to the end of today's training so you can get your questions answered. Now, I know some of you are here because you're desperately trying to have a baby and your body is not cooperating. And for others, you're struggling with your hormones and period problems and you just want to feel normal without the pill. I'm going to show you how to heal your womb. So instead of feeling disconnected, like your body isn't working or betraying you in some way, I'm going to show you how to feel good no matter what time of the month it is, so you can trust your body to really do what it's supposed to do. That's my promise to you today. By the end of this training, I'm going to show you exactly the steps that you need to take to guide your body to do what it's made to do. All right, so what is your womb desperately trying to tell you? That's the question that I want to help you answer today. Because I don't accept that we're meant to suffer through our periods or suffer through infertility or suffer through menopause, and you shouldn't either. That's the first takeaway that I want you to take from this training, that you're not meant to suffer through female stuff, and I'm going to show you how to heal. So I want to just share with you a little bit about me and my story. It was way back in 2007, 2006, that I first discovered Christiane Northrup's work in Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, and I read for the very first time that a woman's ovarian function is intimately linked with her psyche. That as women, we have a natural cycle of creativity, and we cycle in and out of darkness and light. Half of the month, we feel more inward and reflective, introspective and quiet, and half the month we feel more alive and abundant and positive and full of energy and essentially really creative and fertile. And it was the first time I ever came across that kind of information. And it was honestly astounding and life-changing for me to realize that here we have the secret key of basically to make sense of how our bodies work, how our emotions ebb and flow, and our psyches, and that it's all intimately connected to our menstrual cycles. And I thought, why the hell does nobody talk about this? And how come nobody ever told me this? And I hear that from my clients all the time, like, how come nobody teaches you any of this? So that's really what I want you to walk away, first and foremost, after today's training, is a deep understanding of yourself as a woman and how you can heal the imbalances that contribute to the painful conditions that you're experiencing. Because like I said, I don't believe we're meant to suffer through infertility or suffer through periods or suffer through menopause, that there is a way for us to work in harmony with our hormones, in sync with our cycles. And the good news is I've already spent 10 years researching and meditating and putting together this program. I've tested it. I've worked with many women, hundreds of women all over the world, to heal all of these different painful conditions. And I really want to show you the first steps to do that for yourself. So let's get started with a guided visualization to connect heart and womb and start to listen in for your personal guidance. So what I want you to start off with is to start by thinking of a struggle that you've been having with your body. And hopefully you have a journal or something to write on, or please go ahead and write in the chat box, because I'd love to hear, what have you been struggling with in terms of, could be your fertility, could be your period, maybe it's a hormonal imbalance. So go ahead and write that down. And I want to assure you that anything that you share here today is sacred, and I hold it as sacred. So, you know, if you're writing in your journal, if you're writing in the chat box, I'm just going to give you a few moments just to get in sync with, in connection with, what is that struggle for you. All right. So now, if you're in a place that's safe for you to do, I invite you to close your eyes and just start to relax back into your seat, wherever you're sitting. And take a moment to just close your eyes and breathe in and out through your nose. Take a deep breath through your nose and exhale with a sigh. And again, deep inhale through the nose and exhale with a sigh. And now, if you can, just put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And just sit back into the support of your chair. And start to breathe in and out. So staying with your eyes closed, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, sinking back into the support of your chair. Let it hold all of your weight. Just let yourself sink into the chair, into the support, and keep breathing slowly in and slowly out. Feeling your breath stretching and relaxing your body as you settle into the warm, peaceful darkness inside. Just relax into this darkness, sinking into the comfort. Let your awareness float down into your belly now. Feel the warmth spread through your belly. Feel your hand on your belly. Feel that contact of your hand on your belly, and keep breathing. Feel that warmth spread through your heart and spread through your belly. Now let your awareness go down deeper still into your womb and breathe gently here, letting your awareness float down into your womb space. Like the ocean waves, imagine inside your womb is a vast sea. Feel your feet in that sea, your toes dipping into the water. Imagine you can see out the horizon and let yourself feel. Feel into your belly. Feel into the waters of your womb. Just tune into the sensations or whatever image comes. Let that image or sensation expand, getting stronger and clearer. Let it start to envelop you and let yourself sink into its embrace. Now think of what struggle you've been having with your body. Let it just come into your awareness effortlessly and start to scan your body as if you could turn your eyes on from the inside. Listen with your inner ears, open your inner eyes, and scan your body, finding where you feel it inside. Now imagine that this energy is like a ball, something that you're holding on to very tightly. And start to feel your grip around it soften and let go even a little. Just imagine or feel this now. And feel its grip on you soften too. Imagine, sense, feel like your hand is opening to release this tight ball of energy into the sea. Watch it go, let it go. And just take a moment to ask inside, what am I making space for? Letting this go, what am I making space for? And listen deeply. Ask your womb to show you through a feeling, a word, or an image. And listen quietly for the answer. Keep breathing. Begin to see or feel the gentle rocking of the waves, the waters, the waves in your womb. Let the waters of your womb start to rock you back and forth, showing you what the creation of what you're calling in feels like when you let go. Now begin to see or feel the shimmering moon above you. And feel that moon bathing you in her silvery white light. Breathe and smile, feeling the connection between your heart, your womb, and the moon. And begin to come back now slowly, bringing your awareness back into the room. Come back to your breath, back to your body, feeling fully present and grounded. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. So I'd love to know how you feel and if you've received any words or symbols from connecting with your womb during the visualization. Please go ahead and share them in the chat box with me and let me know what your takeaway is from this guided meditation. So you can go ahead and write your responses in the chat box or take a moment to write them down in your journal. Thank you, Bella from Brazil. I got your message. So if you have any insights or just you want to share how you feel, please go ahead and type them in. So the reason I took you through this meditation is to begin to connect with what your womb is desperately trying to tell you. Because I believe our bodies are always trying to communicate with us, and pain is a really powerful way for our body to get our attention, but it doesn't have to be that way. There really is a much more powerful way to tune into the messages of your womb if you're willing to listen. And of course, meditation and visualization is one very powerful way. Yoga is another really powerful way. And yet another powerful way is through menstrual cycle charting. And this is one of my favorite practices. Whether you have a period or not, you can chart your cycle. In fact, moon cycle charting can actually get your period back if you're struggling with missing periods from amenorrhea. But if that's not your problem, what moon cycle charting will do for you is show you what your body is trying to communicate with you in a very clear and direct way. And this is important on so many levels. In terms of work, you can maximize your productivity and your workload, your social life. But when your energy dips down, you can also build time in to unplug and restore yourself. In terms of your sex drive, you'll know when you're most emotionally available, when your highest and lowest sex drives are, when you're fertile and not fertile. And this really helps in relationships with your partner. So, when you're in a relationship with someone, you also want to feel connected to your heart. So cycling or charting with your moon cycle chart really helps you to also know when you're most in your heart and when you're most in your head, and that's really helpful for communication. And even from a perspective of teamwork or bonding with friends, really getting to know how your cycle ebbs and flows will help you literally in every aspect of your life. And if you struggle with crazy PMS, it's a for sure sign that you're not working in rhythm with your energy. If you're always pushing yourself through low energy times by using caffeine or pure willpower, then your mind and body will rebel against you because you're literally pushing against the natural flow of what your body needs. So the takeaway is that you're constantly cycling, and there's going to be times when you are really energized and productive. There's going to be a time in your cycle where you feel more loving and connected and nurturing, and then you're going to go into more of a darkening, introspective place of turning inwards, wanting to be alone, and then kind of like a hibernation phase. And this is all connected to your hormonal cycle. So I like to think of it as the phases of the moon is a really good analogy, or the seasons, if you live in a place where you have all 4 seasons. Winter, or the new moon, which is actually today, so happy new moon. The new moon, if you think about it, or winter, is when it's most dark, right? You get less time in the sunlight. When the moon is dark, there's no moonlight at night. And that's very similar to our nature when we're menstruating. It's a darker place. It's a time for quiet, for, retreating, being inside, kind of like a time for hibernation. And our body is reflecting this natural phenomenon in nature, whether it's, we could think of it as winter or the dark moon. But then, of course, the moon always comes back, right? The crescent moon symbolizes our reemergence. Hormonally, estrogen starts to increase and our energy starts to build up and rise. We feel kind of like perked up and on again. Our mood lifts. We feel more energized. And it's really a time kind of like of starting fresh, that new kind of pep in your step, inspiration, really good time to start new things. And if you're on the white moon cycle, which means you get your period with the new moon, so if you're menstruating right now, that means you're on the white moon cycle. And often that also symbolizes a more nurturing side in you. It's also really reflective of a desire of motherhood. A lot of my clients who are trying to get pregnant, their cycles will shift after doing the Moon Goddess program, so they are cycling or having their period with the new moon. This is not necessary, but it tends to happen. And you tend to have boys. It's interesting if you cycle with the white moon. If you cycle with the red moon, that means you're getting your period with the full moon instead of the new moon. That's called the red moon cycle. And I'll get to that in just a moment. Let's keep going with the phases of the moon and the phases of our cycle. So traditionally speaking, when we move into that time of our cycle where we're passing through pre-ovulation, where our energy is rising, we feel upbeat, energized, excited, and that's sort of analogous of the crescent moon or the springtime. Then we move into the full moon, bright and full of light and fertility. It's actually when the earth is most fertile. In Europe, they do biodynamic farming practices because they've proven that when you plant seeds by the light of the moon, you get a very abundant crop. So the earth is fertile. If you're ovulating, your body is fertile. And it's like the summertime where everything's in full bloom. And then we move into premenstruation, which is kind of like the fall or the waning moon, where the moon starts to disappear, the leaves on the trees start to fall, everything starts to kind of get ready to, in a way, shut down, in a way, slow down. Nature is preparing us for winter. The moon is preparing to go into darkness, and our bodies are preparing for menstruation. And so it's a really natural time to slow down and give yourself the opportunity to kind of like review and reflect what's happened this month, what's not working in my life, what do I maybe need to let go of, what am I making space for to bring in the new. So it's a really good time to take stock and look at what you're wanting to release. If you're in menopause, this kind of phenomenon actually lasts for quite a long time because it's almost like reviewing your identity. So premenstruation is a really important time, or like perimenopause is a really important time to kind of like review and reflect what's not you anymore, and to start letting that go to make space for the new. And then we move into the dark moon or the new moon, winter, and the time where everything basically, you know, if you live in a place like I do where it snows, the earth freezes, all the trees lose their leaves, and essentially the earth stops producing. And essentially, you know, in a way, fertility-wise, it's thought, you know, this is our most infertile time. So that's basically how our cycles work. And going back to the red moon cycle, what that means is, what I just described is more the phenomenon of the white moon cycle, which means that you're menstruating with the new moon, which is right now, today's the new moon, or you're ovulating, and you're ovulating with the full moon, and the full moon was on February 22nd. But if you're on the reverse cycle, let's say, for example, you get your period with the full moon and you are ovulating with the new moon, this is called the red moon cycle. And traditionally, this is a cycle held by healers and medicine women, women who were contributing to the community, and maybe their mothers too, but their primary focus was more about taking care of and uplifting and inspiring huge groups of people versus just the family at home. So this is like traditional archetypal conversation that we're having. Obviously, in our modern world, it's not going to be so clear cut. But you know, for me and for a lot of the women that I work with, women who are doing healing work, Reiki practitioners, yoga teachers, creative people, often tend to have red moon cycles, and sometimes their cycle will shift to a white moon when they're trying to get pregnant and then switch right back after the baby's born. And sometimes they still conceive on the red moon cycle, which is perfectly, it's possible, and it's perfectly normal as well. And I have lots of clients that get pregnant on the red moon cycle and tend to have girls. So that's a really interesting phenomenon that I've seen through my practice, that red moon cyclers tend to have more girls and white moon cyclers tend to have more boys. So now let's get into moon cycle charting. So I just want to make sure that I can see everything. So I'm just going to maximize my screen. Okay, so hopefully you have printed out your handout. This is what it looks like. And what we want to do is, essentially the first step is to find yourself on this chart. So I'm just going to point out two important things. This here, the open, I'm going to use my finger. The open circle is the full moon, and the dark, completely dark circle up here, up here is the new moon. So today is here, the new moon. Now, let me just think of an example. If someone wants to tell me their first day of their period, if anyone's menstruating, I'm just going to imagine that someone got their period today. And so we're going to start with this moon here. Okay. And what I like to do is right up top, put your cycle day. So that would be cycle day number 1. And then if you look into this pie chart, you see there's a spot to chart your physical being, and then a spot to chart your emotional being. And then of course you can see down here, this is where you're supposed to put the day and the date. I just find it's easier up here. So what you're going to do is every day you're going to write in how you feel physically and how you feel emotionally. And the amazing thing about doing this practice is once you start to do this every single day, and you have, you do for 1 month, then you do it for the second month, you do it for the third month, you'll be amazed because you'll start to see a cyclical pattern. And the amazing part about this is that you get to see your unique cyclical pattern because your times of the month are going to be different. So, for example, I think of our cycle as in terms of our goddess energies. So we cycle through the 4 phases, which I told you about, connected to the new moon, the crescent moon, the full moon, and the waning moon. And that relates to the 4 phases of our cycle, right? So we have our period is like the new moon. Our after our period is the crescent moon. Into ovulation is the full moon, and premenstrually we're in the waning moon. So when we think of it in terms of our goddess energies, during our period we're in the wise woman phase, where we're quiet and introspective, we're more connected to our souls. We get to hear our inner guidance in a deeper way. It's really easy to meditate. And that's our wise woman energy. And then we move into our maiden or our go-getter energy. After our period is done, we have this like surge of energy and enthusiasm, and that's the go-getter. But depends on like where you are in your chart, you get to see very clearly how long does your wise woman phase last. So how many days do you feel quiet and reflective and maybe tired and you just want to be alone, you want to hibernate? And then when do you feel that surge of energy and rise and enter your go-getter phase? That's going to be different for each woman. So let's say your period lasts for 3 days, but you don't really feel that surge of energy until day 5 or day 6 or day 7. So even though you don't have a period, your wise woman phase lasts, from day 1 to day 7. So you get to learn this about yourself instead of, maybe using a period app. You're actually getting to know your cycle based on looking at what your body is telling you. What are your emotions telling you? What is your mind telling you? So I have a question here. If my period started on February 29th, is that a red moon cycle? So essentially, let's say the 22nd was the full moon, so it's within 5 days. You're tending more towards a red moon cycle, but again, it's not an exact science. I like to think of it more in terms of an archetypal way. So, are you the type of person that is more into healing work? Are you working on yourself more as opposed to focusing on creating a family? Oftentimes, our cycles reflect how we're using our energy in the world. So again, it's not an exact science. It doesn't mean that if you're cycling with the red moon, you cannot conceive. But it does mean that you might be really learning something about yourself. Maybe you are at a time in your life where you're soul searching, you're getting more in touch with your deeper purpose, you're in touch with some challenges in your life that you need to heal. And then you're in this time of life of like looking for wisdom and help, self-help perspective, possibly. So maybe you're helping other women. Oftentimes it's what's happening in our life that impacts how we're cycling with the moon. Whereas if we're the type of person who's maybe more focused on home life and family life, maybe we're in a more traditional role, or we're just a more nurturing person. We like to spend time with the family. We like to entertain and have people over, and we're more that type of person. It's going to be reflecting again in our cycle. So this is sort of like a really brief introduction into charting your cycle with the moon. And okay, give me a second. I'm just going to try to minimize now. I don't know how to do that. All right. So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. There is, just so you know, a little bit of a delay between when I receive your questions and when you actually send them. So just so you know. I'm trying to, here we go. I don't know how to minimize the screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Okay, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So let me come back to you. So how do I minimize, Devin? Control what? Control minus. Okay, sorry everyone. Control minus, not working. Oh, something's happening. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. All right, so there's been a lot of takeaways here. Your body cycles through 4 distinct energies based on your hormones. Halfway through your cycle, you tend to have higher energy, and halfway through your cycle, lower energy. And when you honor this rhythm, you'll have much less moodiness, a lot less PMS, and period pain will start to diminish because you're taking time to pause. You'll also feel much more at peace because you're not forcing yourself out of your natural energy flow. And when you honor yourself in this way, the spillover benefits really extend into every area of your life. Your work, your relationships, your sex life, your health. And basically, when you know how to maximize your energy, you're also optimizing your peak energy times of productivity and play, and you're allowing yourself that time to restore. So at the most basic levels, you're meeting your own needs. And when you know what you need, then you can communicate it clearly with your partner. And he or she will understand you better and be able to meet your needs too. So the takeaway here is, first you really need to know what your needs are and where they come up in your cycle. And the amazing thing is about us women is our needs actually have a pattern that you can predict. And then you can share them with your partner so they have a chance to be able to meet your needs. All right, so just so you know, the easiest way to chart your cycle with the moon is to make sure you have a moon phases calendar handy, which I'll send you as well at the end of our call. And, you know, this call, like this webinar, is just the beginning where I've been able to share some of the tools to start teaching you and start healing your period problems on your own, and really start working with your hormones rather than against them. Now, for those of you who are wanting more for yourself, something that's guided, something that will heal you faster and bring you long-term results, I'd love to tell you about my program. When it comes to healing your heart and your womb connection, your mind and your body and your soul, and really showing up to say yes to yourself, just as you've done by registering for this training, you know, that's partly step 1. And I just really want to honor you and acknowledge you for taking that first step. I know you're committed to your healing if you're here with us today. And at the same time, it's so much easier when you have the help of an expert. When you can follow a proven program that shows you step by step what you need to do to heal your periods, to alleviate your PMS, to improve your fertility, to get off the pill, and get your hormones in balance, or have a smoother transition to menopause. And, I want to share a little bit with you about what brought me to this work. I mentioned to you earlier that it was back in 2006 that I came across this information, and it was because I had spent 10 years after pregnancy termination and abortion that I had when I was 18. And the sorrow and the guilt and the betrayal and shame that I felt from not carrying that pregnancy to term really manifested for me in my womb as period hell. And that was, the very first time I really made that heart womb connection. And it wasn't until I realized that I needed to heal my relationship with my womb. And I was already a Kundalini yoga teacher, so I decided to go back to yoga school to study how yoga can heal a woman's body. And I really asked myself, what are we as women missing? And why would our own biology purposely cause us so much pain and struggle and stress? And so to find that solution, I asked myself a deeper question. What do we need to heal within our bodies so that our biology is working with us and not against us? Because it didn't make sense to me that women are meant to suffer through their periods or suffer through infertility. So I really made it the focus of my work. And that's the wisdom that I have incorporated into Moon Goddess, which has helped, my clients who've been trying to get pregnant. Over 55% of them have had success. And I've spent the last 10 years developing and testing the Moon Goddess program. And I know it works to heal even the most complicated hormonal imbalances. Especially if you're not trying to get pregnant, the imbalances that contribute to painful periods, to PMS, to fibroids and endometriosis, to missing periods and polycystic ovaries. All of these parts of ourselves, I really believe, is our womb desperately trying to get our attention and asking for healing. So a button should have appeared on your screen that asks you to enroll in the Moon Goddess program. And if you click that button, what it will do is take you to a page that I've created that basically explains my entire program and my approach to help you begin to heal from these painful conditions. Because I know it's hard to do it on your own. Like I said, it took me 10 years to even realize I needed to do this healing work. And then as soon as I started sharing these teachings, I've been amazed with the results. So if you want to fix your period, if you want to fix your fertility, then I invite you to click on this button now. And I've created this web page to outline all the information, if you click through, that you need to make it really easy for you to see the whole program. So I invite you now to go and check it out. And you'll see that as you scroll down the page, the main benefits of the program is to heal from hormonal health challenges like PMS, painful or missing periods, low libido, fibroids, endometriosis, polycystic ovaries, and any other condition where your pituitary is having trouble communicating with your ovaries. You'll also transcend the anxiety and depression and stress that comes from being out of balance with your hormones, and you'll learn to flow with your monthly changes, or your weekly changes, instead of fighting with your hormones. So you can really tune into your menstrual cycle and its profound gifts of insight and self-knowledge, creativity, healing, emotional and mental strengths and capacities. And you'll also find out how beautifully your menstrual cycle mirrors the phases of the moon. So, in addition to all of that, if you're also trying to conceive, you can erase negative thinking, restore faith in your body's ability to conceive, strengthening your reproductive organs and boosting your fertility, restoring hormonal balance using the power of Kundalini Yoga. You'll calm your stressed out mind and relax your body into the miracle of conception, feel in partnership with your cycle instead of against it, and really reduce the impacts of stress, both emotional, psychological, and physical stress, to increase your chances of pregnancy if that's what you're trying to do. So I invite you to look through the content in each of the videos. And I'm just going to open it too on my end. So in video 1, essentially it's to set your intention and really connect heart and womb to what it is that you'd like to heal. In video 2, this is my signature moon goddess flow. It's 11 gentle, easy poses to support your reproductive organs and really draw healing energy and blood flow into your hips, your pelvis, your uterus, and your ovaries. And this is really helpful if you have painful periods, any kind of cramps or fibroids, cysts. Basically increasing blood flow to the uterus and the ovaries will help improve those conditions and also reduce spotting and improve your menstrual flow. And then in video 3, I'll be teaching you the series for the pituitary gland. It's a Kundalini Yoga sequence. And this is really powerful because it works with the master gland of your endocrine system to help you stop suffering from PMS. If you have polycystic ovaries, again, it really gets the pituitary to start functioning properly. If you're struggling with depression or anxiety related to hormonal imbalance, or you want to heal any cycle irregularity, this video will be really helpful for you. And then the final video, number 4, I'm going to show you a very special breath meditation, which basically harmonizes all the phases of your cycle, really reduces stress, improves any kind of like short cycles or long cycles, helps you balance out your emotions, and helps you to feel more positive as well. There's a whole series of bonuses as well. So the first, you'll get a meditation for each phase of your cycle to connect with the different goddess energies that I mentioned earlier. And then you get a whole bunch of bonuses like an ebook that you can follow through illustrations if you don't have the video or if you want to do a practice without the video. If you're traveling or you just want to try it on your own, you get a beautifully illustrated ebook. You get a deeper, longer workshop with me on charting your cycle with the moon. You get a meditation on timelessness, plus another meditation to connect with all 4 goddess energies. And then I check in with you weekly to make sure you're staying on track. And you also get 2 live Q&A calls with me, plus a private Facebook community. So this is the whole program in its entirety. And for the first 10 women who sign up in the program, what I'd love to do is a private small group mastermind program. So one for fertility and one for fixing your period. So I can really dive deep with all of you and do that group mastermind to answer your questions specifically about your problem and what it is that you're struggling with. Okay, so still having a little bit of technical difficulty here. All right, so if you have any questions, I would love to be able to answer them, but now my screen got really small. Oh boy. All right. So try moving your screen. So I'm having trouble with Chrome again, Devin. How do I get out of here? Oh, here it is. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see the hit command? And we were pressing the wrong button, not control, command.
Okay. But it's still not letting me like totally get out of Chrome so I can go to the rest of my computer.
Oh, hit and escape isn't working?
No.
You were in full screen?
Yeah, I'm in full screen and I can't get out.
And if you try to move your screen down completely, like grab your screen and move it down so you can see the...
Oh, okay. That's cool. I'm still learning how to use a Mac. Okay, so that's...
That worked?
It worked, but it's, yeah, it's not ideal. I'm trying to see here. Okay, that's better. All right. So I'm just going to check for questions. What are the last two archetypes for the cycle after the wise woman and the maiden? So essentially there's 4 archetypes. You have the go-getter, which is around pre-ovulation, the nurturer, which is at ovulation, the enchantress at premenstruation, and the wise woman at menstruation. Those are the 4 archetypes. And you can think of it as maiden, mother, enchantress, and crone as more of the regular archetypes. So I'm just going to make sure here. Okay. I want to open up to any questions that you might have, specifically around the program, anything specifically around your cycle. We only have a few minutes left. And I just want to make sure that if you have some specific questions, I can answer them either here or via email. And just to give you a quick, let me see if I can see what's here. Make sure I fill it out right. So we're on the red moon, we put day 1. Okay, so yes, if you're on the red moon cycle, so let's say I'm going to go back to this chart, and you started your period on February 22nd, for example, or you're coming up in 2 weeks and this is the full moon, then you would start here. So say, for example, you know, we know that this is today is the new moon, and maybe your period is not coming for another 5 days. Then you count forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you would start here. So essentially the easiest way is to find where the moon is in the sky, locate that on your chart, and then count based on when your period starts. I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Yeah, if your period falls between moons, essentially doing something like the breath meditation to balance your menstrual cycle, which is part of the Moon Goddess program, or the yoga and the meditation that comes with the program, really helps you to start to synchronize your cycle with the moon. Moon cycle charting is also very effective. Somehow your body does find its own way of finding balance, and this is only one way of that process. You know, Chinese medicine and acupuncture is another way. It's, you know, doing acupuncture every month can get pricey because, you know, it can get up to once a week for 3 months can be like $1,200, and so it can add up. And so this is a really effective way. Just going back to the program, I forgot to take you through the options that you have in terms of signing up for the program. You have 2 options in terms of the payment plan, where you could have 3 payments of let me just check it out here, of 167, or if you pay in full, then you save $54, and it's a total investment of $447. So, I just want to start wrapping it up here, and really thanking you for being here today. I would love to be able to continue supporting you. If you're struggling with uncontrollable mood swings, constant fatigue, painful, debilitating periods, or even deeper hormonal health challenges like infertility or polycystic ovaries, fibroids, or endometriosis, amenorrhea, if you have no idea how to cure yourself, you may never have thought these things are curable. Honestly, there is another better way of living. Whether you're a driven career woman, a healer, or a teacher, a hardworking mother, or someone who's desperate to conceive, through my program, which is a combination of yoga, meditation, visualization, moon cycle charting, and a powerful reconnection to the divine feminine, you will achieve physical relief, healing, and be reconnected with the divine feminine to create new life. Really, this is unlike any other program I've ever seen in that it awakens your feminine power to heal and create from within your body. You can create a masterpiece, a baby, a relationship, a thriving business, but only if you have access to your feminine power in your womb to heal and create. And that is every woman's birthright. And now is your chance to claim what's rightfully yours. I truly hope that you'll join me in the Moon Goddess program. So I'm going to continue with the chat with all of you. So if you have further questions, feel free to keep on chatting. We're going to wrap up the live broadcast now. So thank you so much, each and every one of you, for being here. The replay will be up, so you can come back to this recording and hear it. And I would love to see you on the other side and work with you one-on-one in our program. Again, for the first 10 who sign up, you'll be in the mastermind calls with me. And for everyone else, there's 2 group Q&A calls, but both groups are going to be together. So the difference is the mastermind will be fertility separate from hormone balancing. So sending you lots of love and delight. Happy Women's Day, happy full moon, and thank you so much. Bye for now.